V-2, the rocket that could have changed the outcome of World War II. The V-2 rocket took about 9,000 lives. It terrorized the British Isles. 2,724 died from it in England alone. The V stood for vengeance. Its production cost 20,000 lives. Then NASA found a different use for it. It was certainly the most advanced rocket of World War II. The V-2 was first put into action on September 6, 1944. It was used to attack Paris. 2 days later, it was used in London. The V-2 killed 3 and injured 22. It was also used in Norwich, Lille, and Antwerp. However, it was all too little too late for Germany. Many argue that the V-2 could have changed the outcome of the war. The V-1 flying bomb was its predecessor. The V-2 rocket was practically soundless. An eyewitness recalled,
"You didn't hear it arriving. It was just there, bang."
The production was led by Wernher von Braun. It lasted from 1936 to 1944. The V-2 was the first ever large-scale liquid propellant rocket. It was 47 feet long. It weighed around 29,000 pounds. It carried 1,600 pounds of explosives. It released 60,000 pounds of thrust and burning alcohol. The V-2 had a peak altitude of 50 miles. On June 20, 1944, it reached 109 miles. It was the first rocket to make it to space. The V-2 was powered by liquid ethanol and oxygen. The mass production employed prisoners of war. About 20,000 forced laborers died. The Nazis gathered skilled workers from all the camps. The most valuable skill was welding. They labored 24 hours a day in an underground factory. It was called Mittelwerk. The factory was close to the Buchenwald concentration camp. The workers saw no daylight. They lived without food, sleep, or hygiene. There were attempts at sabotage, but they failed. Those who protested were executed. They were hung from cranes above the rocket assembly lines. The men didn't know what they were building. The V-2 had an automatic guidance system. It was also capable of changing course. The destination was programmed. Gyroscopes would track the rocket's position in 3 dimensions. The V-2s were collected by the Allies after the Nazis' defeat. Britain, America, and the Soviet Union competed for its production. They wanted the V-2 engineer, Wernher von Braun. He was unwilling to work for Joseph Stalin, so von Braun surrendered to the Americans. The Soviets got the plant and the V-2 test site. The V-2 was dismantled into pieces. The Soviets built an identical counterpart. However, the US experimented in the upper atmosphere. Von Braun began developing the Redstone rocket. Space missions were his lifelong dream. The Redstone had another version, the Mercury Redstone 3. It was used for the first American flight into space. Alan Shepard completed it on May 5, 1961. It lasted 15 minutes and 28 seconds. Shepard was the second person to go into space after Yuri Gagarin. The flight was delayed by 2.5 hours. Shepard was in the capsule the entire time. He complained of being unable to urinate. No one had thought to equip the capsule with a toilet. Still, it was a technological breakthrough. The Nazis accidentally invested in space exploration.